From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Dressel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. And we got the intro.
You did it.
Right on.
Wow.
The intros I hate doing, man, because I'm over here like in a cockpit trying to do the mixing thing and then get the...
You could fly a plane for me. I trust you.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that'd be the last thing you'd want to do, flying a plane.
How excited are you for this show?
I'm very excited. I've watched David since the early 2000s, and I think I'll have to ask him. I think I saw him on something like The Haunted, where he was talking about how we bought the house, which I'm going to let him explain that to everybody.
Right.
But interesting guy, and a collector, as we know, a collector of a lot of awesome autographs things. And lots of boxing.
A lot of awesome things.
Yes, lots of awesome things. But yeah, man, he's got a really interesting story. And wow, can you imagine living 30, 50 yards from that murder site?
Right.
Would just be
Well, what's crazy is you had when we started this, I didn't know, but you had mentioned his name. Mm-hmm. And so I started looking into him, started following him on Instagram, and that's kind of how I got to know him over the last year or so. Dude, it's so nice just to come on.
Yeah, I always wanted to have him on.
You did,
but
yeah.
I always thought he'll never come on my show.
Yeah.
So, but here he is. It's really cool.
Do you want to give the quick bio?
I do. Hang on. I gotta get professional.
Jeez,
here.
Man.
I gotta take my THC gum.
Are you gonna do radio voice?
All right, David Oman, producer, a narrative of. Oh, no, I won't do that. I can barely read them. All right, so we're getting ready to have David Oman on, guys. He is a native of Los Angeles. Oman has been intrigued by the paranormal from his early childhood and has been curious about the spirit world ever since. In 1999, Oman, with his father, started to build the house on Cielo Drive, just down the drive from the infamous Sharon Tate murders, also known as the Manson murders. He just completed his first book, Ghost of Cielo Drive. You guys need to buy that. And I'm going to put links to all his merch, whatever he has, also to his website and to his YouTube site as well. Now I lost my place. I created a story based upon the experience in the home with the activity, titled The House at the End of the Drive. It was shot on location at his home and brought his story to life. Since then, he's moved into the house. The activity has been quite apparent, so much that the Oman house has been on paranormal reality shows, Ghost Hunters, Dead Famous Live. Is that right? Dead Famous Live, Searching for Satan, My Ghost Story, Haunted History, Paranormal Witness, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Adventures After Shock, Extreme Paranormal Witness, and Fright Club. He's also been featured on Larry King. Hey, that's big time, David.
Yeah,
that's big time. Extra on Extra, TMZ, CBS News. His house has also been visited by Lisa Williams and James Van Prague. James, great psychic, by the way. Years ago, he decided to install a HD 1080 with IR, some audio camera, and throughout his home. And his I'm doing a horrible job at this.
Great.
No, I'm doing horrible. And capture, I would never make it on the news. But okay, let's just bring him on. He has some serious evidence caught on his cameras.
Hey, thank God we're not
we'll let David
not newscasters.
Oh,
right?
my God.
We're fine.
It would be a comedy routine. But let's bring David on now. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Great, man. Thank you so much for coming on and taking time to spend with us. This is going to be the most fun show I've ever done.
Oh, God, you're killing me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been watching you since the first thing I was, if you heard me talking, I think it was on one of the haunted shows when it talked about you buying your dad and you building the house. And then the next thing I saw you on was Ghost Hunters.
Yep.
Which I want to ask you when we get in, after we let you tell your story, I got a question about an EVP that you guys caught out there. Actually, I got two questions on it. But anyway, so David, tell them your story. How did you acquire this property exactly?
All right. The Reader's Digest version of it is this. Late November of 1998, my dad calls me on a Sunday morning and says, "Get up." I said, "What do you mean get up?" He goes, "It's 8 a.m, Dad. What do you want?" He goes, "Get up. I found a listing in the LA Times classified." Now 1998, for those millennials, you don't understand, there was no internet. Seriously, there wasn't any like mass classified. So people were still using the old fashioned newspapers and trade papers, whatever, for listings of real estate. So we found this piece of real estate. It was a lot. And he says it's $40,000 in Beverly Hills. Oh. And I said, Pops, does it say 40K? And he goes, yes. I said, Pops, I said, could it possibly be a mistype? A typo says 400K? I said, I've never heard of a lot in Beverly Hills for $40,000. He goes, shut up. It's a foreclosure. Meet me at this location. I'm like, now, mind you, my dad is, God, well, he's all passed away now. But at the time, he's about 79 years old. Let me see, 1998. He's 82 years old. My God. My pops was born in 1916. I'm one of those kids.
Wow.
A late in life baby, let us say. Pops was 82 years old, but pissing vinegar. He wasn't like, hey, Shani. He was like, no. My father was driving a 1997 Firebird Transit.
Nice.
And I come up to the lot with my two dogs in the back of my little Toyota RAV4, and I look at the end of the driveway and I go, wait a second. Oh my God, I'm getting flashbacks from high school. And I'm thinking, that's where the Sharon Tate house once stood. And I'm like saying, oh my God, I haven't been here since high school. My dad drives up, screeches right behind me and comes out of the car and he says, what's going on? I said, Dad, do you see the end of the street? I said, it's under construction. I said, that's where the Sharon Tate murders took place. He looks at me with a straight face and he goes, I don't give a shit about that. This is some 29 years later. He goes, I'm here to look at this piece of real estate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said, you mean this? And it's literally a slope.
Right.
It's about this steep, about 45-degree angle. I'm going, you're kidding me. And as I look down the hill, I notice that there's rebar and other stuff sitting on top of the slope. And I said, Pops, am I crazy, or do I see sticking out between the weeds rebar, like a construction was started here? And he goes, apparently somebody was here earlier, owned the property, and the bank foreclosed upon it, and he started construction. I said, holy crap. And he goes, I do believe the property is still $40,000. And I'm like, for $40,000 with $100,000 worth of improvements? I said, that's crazy. I said, you think you can get it? And he goes, if we can build a house here. My dad thinks this way. Cheap lot, the improvements are there. Let's go ahead and build it for spec.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, Pops, I've been living in an apartment for the past 19 years that your daughter was renting before, when I was in high school, so I could go to Beverly Hills High. Let's see about he's like, no, we can make lots of money on this and that. So my dad, who's an architect and a builder and designer, designed this house.
Wow.
And he goes, if we do it, we're going to do it on the cheap. I said, what's that mean? He goes, you're going to have to put time in on the property and building to save money. And you're going to have to go out and hustle your ass to get the finished products, which are like the marble, for the countertops and the granite, for the bar tops and all this stuff. And he goes, you're going to be responsible for getting that on the cheap, and the fixtures, and the water fixtures.
Nothing's cheap in Beverly Hills, though. Good Lord. Marble? Are you kidding me?
Oh, I was going out to like Sun Valley to pick the marble and have it done there. They bring it to the house and then install it.
Right.
I'm not one of those idiots. My father was a builder contractor. So all my life I was exposed to this. And he says, this is where you go to get the tile. This is where you go to get it cut. And he was doing it not on the cheap, but not spending. You can do it this way, or you can do it the more reasonable, less expensive way. Right. And he says, we can do it here, and we'll bring it here. And he goes, we're going to do it for about $100 a square foot. And I'm like, $100 a square foot? Are you kidding me? And he goes, yeah, that's about what it's going to cost to build a house.
Wow. That's insane.
So we built the house, and it was just like, during the time that we were here building it, there was stuff going on.
Was there a partial part? So are you saying there's actually a partial part of a house there and you guys built onto it, or was there just land and that was?
There was land, and on the land, somebody prior to us buying the property, the previous owner, had basically come in and drilled 13 30-foot, 2-foot diameter holes and filled them up with concrete with rebar in them, and then put rebar on the above that, tying in to this structure that was built into the earth.
Gotcha.
To secure the house we built the foundation on.
Right.
But for it must have been at least 10 years before, since that had happened, and it had sat in foreclosure because all the rebar was rusted, and there were weeds growing all through the entire mess.
Wow.
That had to be cleared off.
Gotcha.
So you said that things were happening while you guys were working on it? Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
If you can imagine, here's an example. During the construction, we had basically, you built the lowest floor, which is the 3rd floor, and then you built up. So you got the decking. It's basically an open platform, and then you start building your framework up, and you build the floor above it. You build your staircase to the next floor, as you're doing that, and then you build the flooring on the 2nd floor. Then you do the same thing with the 3rd floor.
Right.
When the whole house was halfway done, so you had floor 1 and floor 2, or 3rd floor and the 2nd floor, as we now know it. I'm walking around, and I'm going into one room going, something here is strange. All of a sudden, I feel like somebody's walking up behind me, and I can almost hear footsteps, but I can't hear them. But I feel like somebody's coming up behind me, and they're like, yes, going to get you. And I turned and said, Jose, what? No one's there. The other guys were having the experience of tools going from one room, like when we finally, for this instance, when we had the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floors done, they would complain ask me if I was there the night before and I might have moved the air hammer. And it's why would I move the air hammer? What are you, crazy? I'm a contractor's son. I know what I don't, that's, right. I don't do that. He goes, and they find the air hammer on the 2nd floor in a different part, in a room where there's a closet area, and that's where it would be. I'm like,
if I remember right, some of those guys quit, didn't they? Because they got so scared.
One guy had the experience, and this is what was 6 months before we were done. I lined up all the laborers. There were 5 of them between the ages of 16 and 34. The 34-year-old was the 16-year-old's father. So there's also a 24-year-old guy named, I forgot his name, but he was the one that was from San Salvador. And he said he basically disappeared for about 3 weeks. And it was 6 weeks. No, 6 weeks. And I said, where is he? He's supposed to put in the tiles to the master bathroom. It's the last room he's got a tile. Oh, they don't know. He's down in San Salvador taking care of his mother who's sick. That's the cover story.
Right.
I go and I said, well, if he's not here in the next week, I'm going to do it myself. Big mistake. I've been watching this guy just take the tile and just slather the cement on and to just put it onto the ground. And I'm thinking, I can do that. What's to it? I don't know how to tell you this, but it's a lot easier when you're watching somebody else that's got 10 years experience doing that versus you trying it for the first time. And to this day, I've got some of the tiles were like this, some are like this, some are like this, some are like this. The master bathroom, secondly, get this. He goes, Senor, he goes, you do know what these are natural stone. I said, what does that mean? He goes, well, you got to take them out and lay them out and figure out the patterns because there's different veins going through and you can basically make patterns out of these veins. I said, what? He goes, these aren't just, common tile that are mass produced in the same pattern. You can, it doesn't matter where you put them, but this, it matters. And I'm looking at it going,
oh shit.
And I'm looking at the pattern. You've got a line going like this across one. Then there's another one going like this. They don't match. And he goes, no, you should have put that in. I'm looking at going, the jigsaw puzzle. He's right. Basically, people say, if you don't believe it, come into the master bathroom and take a look. You look through the entire house. They're all fine. But you get to the master, you're going, what happened?
Was that your first experience with paranormal activity? Is in that house? Or had you had it growing up?
All right, I'll be honest with you. I always wanted to have paranormal activity happen to me as a kid. because when I was 6 years old, I saw something that just blew me away. And no, 5 years old. Sorry, I was 5 years old, and I blew me away. And I ran into my parents' bedroom. I got into their bed, and there's a king size bed. And on one side of the bed is a little nightstand, and then there's a doorway. On the other side, there's a nightstand and a doorway. And I saw this object at about 4 feet, probably about like 6 or 8 inches in diameter, and it's a ball of light, but it's flashing red, green, and blue. And it's basically floating across in front of the bed, and then from one door to the other. And I'm like watching, going,
wow,
man.
And I was wide awake, and I said, all right, I know I saw that. I saw that. And I'm thinking, all right, so that was my first encounter. As a kid, I used to see things, but I didn't justifiably acknowledge. I mean, I couldn't vouch that I saw that, but it was just, I felt the presence. And I always had sixth sense. Always was blessed with sixth sense. But to be blessed with sixth sense is one thing. To listen to your sixth sense is quite another. Meaning, I get information. Don't take your girlfriend home. Let your friend take her home. It's more important for him to take her home than you. Why? And I try to explain that to her. It's like, look, I don't want to take you home. Glenn lives like right down the street from you. On the way home, he can drop you off. No, you drive me home. Drive her home fine. On the way home from her house, I ended up having a problem where I basically totaled my car and ran it into a lamppost. I looked down, I was hearing noises from the radio, and I was distracted. And my car had a terrible toe to the right. Mm-hmm. So as I'm looking down, I'm not paying attention. The car basically goes at 25 miles an hour into a lamppost.
So do you think that was? Jesus. Do you think that was like an intuition?
It's like 40 years ago. Let's not even talk about this.
Okay. Yeah, the sixth sense.
But and then I thought to myself, SOB. I heard the voice say, "Don't take her home." It was for. And then I finally started to listen, and I started to learn. Didn't listen, I didn't listen until I got even to be. Yeah, even 21, I didn't learn that lesson either. That's another story.
I don't think we all do until we're 40.
No. About 21, when the last thing happened, I said, that's it. Stop disavowing what you're hearing.
Right.
It's there to protect you. If like one time it says, be careful. Don't go and visit your friend Ronnie. You're going to get a speeding ticket.
Right.
Sunset Boulevard, got a speeding ticket going into Pacific Palisades. And I thought to myself, you guys are really out there to save my ass. And then, it's just, again, you start to pay attention to that
For
stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you do, you start to learn, saying, I get it. That's when that says that, listen to it.
Right. Yep.
It's not a demon speaking to you.
Right. It's that gut feeling you get for sure.
Yeah, the gut feeling. It's saying you hear a voice say, da-da-da, going, okay, or this person's not good. It's like, what? Okay.
So are you audibly hearing this?
Here's my last example. Yeah. I mean, you actually hear it audibly.
Wow. Okay, that's
21st birthday. I was notoriously known in my high school and college days to be having parties that were off the charts, like risky business. not with the prostitutes that I know.
Right.
But parties that were just like off the hook. Enough so that my mom and dad came back from a weekend in Del Mar, and I was waiting at the front door. My dad said, because they had seen the movie Risky Business, and they said, you know Risky Business? I said, yeah. And my dad says, it's the story of your life. So when your parents see the freaking movie in the due time and tell you that's you, it's like, so I had this party, and there must have been, I remember we had my friend that was called Credit Card Ken. Now, mind you, this is almost 40 years ago, but just enough, he would go out and he had a scam. Let's just be honest. He would scam and pick up credit cards were left at different restaurants that he found out about and claimed that, I left my credit card here. Can I get it? And they wouldn't ask for ID. So he would get the credit card and spend. So at my birthday party, my 21st, Kenny ended up getting 10 cases of imported beer in cans because they didn't want any glasses to be broken.
Right.
We had a fiberglass 8-foot by 4-foot bathtub that my dad had made as a prototype that was filled with ice and filled with beer. We had a 5-gallon Sparklets container that was filled with kamikaze juice, and it had self-serve commies, and people would take the Dixie cups and serve themselves a shot of the commie juice we made. I mean, it was insane. I mean, and we had a band.
Sounds fun.
One of the members of the band, it was an 8-piece band with horn section and everything. They wanted to play the party. I said, yeah, come play the party. Free? Yeah, free. Okay. So one of the guys went on to be with a group called the Untouchables as the trumpet player. But back to the story. So 8:00, this friend of mine walks in, or a neighbor's friend, a neighborhood friend that I knew. And his name is Danny. I won't go his last name, but Danny was notoriously known at the time for taking over 1,000 hits of LSD at that time, by the age of 21. And his father was a huge record producer and such. And, you know, he was just like one of those characters. When he walked through the front door, I happened to be about 20 feet away in the living room, and my attention was drawn straight to the front door. And as I looked at him, I heard a voice say, something bad is going to happen to you, and he is going to be directly involved.
Wow.
5.5 hours later, 1:30 in the morning, party's starting to wind down. I see Danny outside by the swimming pool on the patio with this crystal goblet that's shaped like this. And it's something that my aunt has sent my mother as a birthday gift. And it's a dessert crystal goblet. It's probably about this big in diameter, if you can imagine. And Danny's got the stem in his hand like this, and the base is here, and the crown is here, but he's got his fingers wrapped, his thumb and his forefinger wrapped around the crown. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, oh, shit. I ran outside. I said, Danny, give me the goddamn goblet. So I put my right hand on his right hand. So here's his right hand with the goblet. I put my right hand on his wrist. I put my left hand here to catch the goblet, if you can imagine. So if you guys can see this like this, he's got his hand like this, and my hand's like this. So I look at him, and I swear to God, I stare him in the eye. I said, Danny, give me the goblet. And on the second time, I said, Danny, give me the goblet. And I'm thinking he's going to open his hands and drop the goblet, and he's going to, oh, I'm sorry, I dropped it. No. Danny does this, and it's almost impossible to imagine. He finds the weak spot in the circle, which is almost impossible, and pops the glass in 3 shards.
Holy crap.
A shard goes right through my hand that was here. And I'll show you the scar. Do you see the scar?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little dirtiness on my hand, but here you can see it. See that scar there?
Yeah, I can see it clearly.
Where is it here? This.
Yeah. Good God. Man, that's a deep cut.
Oh, very. So the band members seeing this come rushing out, grab Danny, and I'm like this, going like with my hand like this. I'm saying, oh shit, I think I'm cut. And I open my hand up, and all this blood just comes pouring out. So they take Danny and throw him out of the party. 2 of the guys say, what do you want us to do? And I'm thinking, shit, immediate Boy Scout. And I'm going to freaking bleed out. Who the hell knows how bad? And I don't feel anything because it's such a sharp, quick, cut.
Right.
And I said, run in my bedroom, go into this drawer. And I'm just calm, cool as a cucumber, thinking if I'm going to bleed out, I'm not going to go hysterical. I said, the only salvation I've got is just to stay calm and to basically just focus on getting myself to the hospital. And I said, go in there and grab the long athletic sock and bring it out quick. We're going to make a tourniquet. And I said, go over there on the side of the house. There's a wooden, broom handle, bust it in half immediately. So when he comes back, you're going to take that gosh darn athletic sock, wrap it around my right arm right here, and we're going to put a tourniquet and tie that thing off so there's no more blood leaving my body so I don't bleed out. I said, secondly, once we do that, somebody get a car and rush my ass to UCLA Medical Emergency Room immediately. I said, that's all. So we got in this, I'll never forget this, a 1968 beaten up original VW Beetle. And they're hauling ass down there, and we come down Sunset Boulevard to Veteran. We come hauling ass down Veteran, and and then mind you, it's 2:30 in the freaking morning by now. We haven't gotten our shit together since, the accident took place around 1:45 in the freaking morning. And I'm we're sitting there, and I'm like this, holding my arm, and I'm in the passenger seat, and he's driving like mad, and the motorcycle cop comes up and pulls us over. And he goes, I pulled you over for I said, officer, we don't have time to talk. I said, we've got a medical emergency. I said, I've got a laceration to my to my hand. And I'm bleeding out right now. The cop said, holy shit, puts his sirens on, code 2, blaring his sirens. He goes, I'll give you an escort right into the ER right now. And he looks at my hand, the whole goddamn freaking sock is now covered in blood.
So
it's white sock athletic sock, all bloodied up. And so he rushes us in there, doesn't give him a ticket for his busted ass tail light. And the doctors are working on it. He goes, it's a miracle. And I said, no, it's my birthday. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, Sunday, July 23rd. Today is my birthday. I said, last I had a party on the 22nd, this and that. And he says to me, he goes, it's your birthday miracle. I said, what? He goes, look at this. He goes, you're about 1 millimeter away from severing the tendon that connects your thumb to here. He goes, do you see where this cut is? He goes, if it was it went literally right through this. But he says, if it was any deeper by this much, it would have severed the tendon. And this would have been your hand.
Wow.
You would have been able to, he goes, as it is, he goes, like, you won't feel anything. The nerves are severed because it was such a clean cut that the nerves, you didn't feel anything. He said, no, he goes, it'll be numb for the rest of your life for this area right here, which it still is. But, and then literally a few hours later, we were scheduled to go with a friend of mine for 3 days to Vegas to celebrate my 21st. I'm on a freaking flight to Vegas, all doped up on Demerol or whatever because they gave me some heavy pills to take care of the pain, because he says eventually it might start feeling, some pain, discomfort. So we went up to Vegas for the next 3 days. My arm's in a sling. And I had the craziest 21st birthday. Let's just say sympathy was runneth over. Because I'm 21, and it's the story of this was, oh my God, you poor baby. It's like, yeah, let me buy you a drink. It's like, oh yeah, thank you.
Should have listened to that voice in your head.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's what I just said. You just tied it all back to the point of, this is what the spirits said. Something bad's going to happen. He's going to be direct. Who could have foreseen that?
Yeah. So when's the first time you thought that you associated the ghost in your house with the murder victims from this Tate home?
Well, I mean, how should we say it? When I first came up here, it just felt very familiar. Well, it was, but I mean, and you got to remember, we started out from that perspective because I figured, rationally speaking, there was nothing here before the property was built. Before I built the house, it was just vacant land. And what seems most rational or as an explanation is the fact that I thought that, it's got to be them. As I've grown to find out, it's far, 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 far beyond just those people, because yes, they visit. The spirits have been known to visit the house, but there's so much more here with the activity that we've recorded that is completely not related to the Sharon Tate murders. And I was just showing a producer some footage from 2006. So about 7 years ago, we had an investigation here in 2015. Was it 2014? Sorry, 8 years ago, and we actually have this girl's father's voice recorded saying, "Let it go, mija."
Whoa.
And it's like, wait a second. And it was during the seance, and, everybody's looking for Sharon Tate's ghost. And I'm like going, why would she come to visit anybody if you have no connection to her? And furthermore, let's see, isn't it more likely that somebody that personally that died could come visit you? And they go, yeah. I said, so when something happens, don't attribute to Sharon Tate, attribute it to the person that first pops into your mind.
Right.
And in this case, we had a seance here. We had like 10 people at the seance table. We had 3 digital recorders on the table, 2 psychics, and somebody walking with a handheld video camera. In the middle of the seance, I said, stop the seance. I heard a voice. Both psychics got all pissy, and I said, no, just listen. We listen to the record, and you hear a man's voice say, "Let it go, mija." And then mija is Spanish, from South Mexico and such. So I'm thinking, that's crazy. A Latin, it's like, wow. And so we listened to all 3 recordings, and on the digital recorder, the video recorder, you heard the same thing. And I said, that's nuts. And this girl said, that's my dad. He died of cancer 4 years ago. Whoa. I haven't been able to go on with my life since he died. And I'm like going, who the hell are you? And she was somebody, we didn't, it's not like this was all foretold and foreseen because I didn't know who she was. And she comes in and this just happens. And I'm like, okay,
Wow.
oh, that's crazy. It's more like, anything happens, it's first and foremost directly connected to the people that have come in the house.
Wow.
Gotcha. Didn't you have a sighting of Jay Sebring in your, tell my viewers about that.
All right. 18 years ago, mid-July, my girlfriend's flying the European route for American Airlines. And I'm getting all hinky nervous thinking, this isn't really good. There could be something terrorist act. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And my mom at the time had pancreatic cancer. So middle of the night, 1:35, I put my head on my pillow and I had taken notice of looking at the clock and the time that it was right next to me. And I was going, all right, 1:35. I put my head in my pillow and I literally just fell asleep like that. All of a sudden, my eyes just popped open. I look and it says, well, I feel like I've been sleeping for 8 hours. And I look at the clock and it says 1:37. And I'm like, that's strange. I don't feel like it's only been 2 minutes. And then for some reason, I just start looking down towards the foot of my bed. And at the corner of the bed, about 2 feet off the corner, I'm sitting there looking up and there's a guy there. Now, mind you, I've got my 2 dogs and my 3 cats on the bed with me. And they're sound asleep. So I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? And the service alarm is on throughout the entire house. So the infrared motion detectors are on upstairs. You can't get in the house without tripping the alarm. And I'm looking at this guy, and he is just full body, but just normal, probably about like 5'9". And I'm looking in the darkness, and I'm like, wait a second, what the hell is making him light up? What? And,
right.
I mean, because I'm thinking, wait a second, the lights are out, but he's not. He's like lit up. The whole room's dark, but there he is. And I'm thinking, okay, what are you here to tell me? Did my mom die? Or are you here to tell me that my girlfriend Felicia's gotten killed in Europe? And I'm going, oh shit. And he's standing there with his left hand extended like this, with his index finger pointing out and turning a quarter turn. And the quarter turn looks like he's turning towards the driveway. And I'm going, what the hell? He did this 3 times and then vanished. Now, the guy's hair was kind of like charcoal black, kinky parted to the side, had this short lapelled kind of a suit, and it didn't look like anybody I recognized. But I noticed the suit, and I said, God, that's a 60s style suit. But Jay Sebring, as I later had seen in all the photographs, had straight hair like mine. It wasn't. So a couple months later, then I walked around the house and I was like, well, nothing came to mind. Next morning I woke up, called my mom at 8 a.m. She's fine. 2 days later, excuse me. 2 days later, my girlfriend calls me and she's fine. So I'm like, okay, so what was that all about? The next thing I know, it's like 3 months later, I'm at the LAPD doing research for this book, which I hadn't even done yet, but I was doing research. And I got permission to pick from the folders of which photographs I wanted for the book. So I had to go through the photos, and I'm looking through the photos, and I find a picture of Jay Sebring. And I'm like, who the hell? I said, that's who I saw in my bedroom. Flip the photo over. Jay Sebring with his natural hairstyle.
Whoa.
Wow.
He used hair relaxant to get his hair straight, which was a big thing in the 60s, straight hair, because the Beatles had that.
Right. So the ghost of Sharon's been at your house before you too. Is that correct?
Yes, I've had her, let's see, my makeup artist during the filming of the movie House at the End of the Drive saw Sharon's apparition in the makeup mirror downstairs, and it freaked her out. And she didn't tell us for 6 months till we had the rap party. 6 months later, she goes, do you remember who the first person to leave when you said rap? And it's like, yeah, you. I said, you grabbed 2 PAs, You grabbed them as fast as you could. You had them hauling up your makeup boxes, your mirrors, and your makeup, booth up the staircase. I said, yeah, I remember that vividly. She goes, I want to get the hell out of there as fast as I could, as soon as you said grab.
Whoa.
And her story was this. She's in the guest bedroom, and she has two makeup tables with, 30-inch by 30-inch mirrors. And there's this whole wooden box with all the makeup stuff, the trays in it. Excuse me. And in the upper right-hand corner is a black and white photograph of Sharon that she uses for reference. And she said in the upper, she was looking at the mirror, and her eyes went to the upper left-hand corner, and she sees a color image of Sharon's face there. And she goes, wait a second. Not only do I not have it in the upper left-hand corner, it's in the upper right-hand corner. What the hell is it doing being colored? She looks like this, looks to the other side. There, of course, is the black and white image. She looks back to the other side. The color image is gone, and she freaks out.
Whoa. That's creepy. That's creepy.
And other people have visited. Oh, yeah. This I was friends with Brian, who I don't remember his last name. It's probably safer I don't. But his parents owned Stellar Line Tours. So he was doing his own private tours on his own and was bringing people up for the private haunted tours of LA before Scott Michaels of Doing the Reported Tours was doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
And he calls me up. He says, I got some people that want to come up to the house and see your house. They've seen you on Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters, blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, bring them up. They come up. It's a mom, a daughter, and her two friends. They had walked down the street to the end of the driveway to the gate, and then they came up to the house and walked in. The mom came in, the daughter's friend, the other daughter's friend walked in, fine. The daughter's stuck at the front door. She can't come in. She goes, I can't walk in. I said, what? Too much energy. It's just too much energy. I can't come in. It's like,
whoa.
So we talked and we talked. But I need some water. Shit.
Yeah, get some if you need some, man. That's fine.
Here, give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. No worries, buddy.
Be right back.
So David is just talking to us right now in a haunted house.
Yeah, yeah. He's
like he lives in a haunted house.
He lives in a haunted house. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to ask him about. I guess Zach, when they did their episode there, was actually scared and left early.
Yeah, I read that.
I believe so. I need to ask him about that, and also
the EVP.
The EVPs I want to ask him about on the Ghost Hunters, which was crazy.
All right, I got it.
No problem, man.
Yeah, this is a great story. This is a real good one for people want to hear about Sharon. All right. That hit the spot. All right, so daughter can't come in. Daughter's friends are sitting at the table. We're talking. I got this impulse saying, you guys should come over tomorrow night. Come over, visit sometime. If you have any questions, here's my business card. The following morning, I get a call from the woman saying, David. I said, yes. And she goes, I spoke to my aunt. I mean, my aunt, my mom's sister. And she goes, did you know that your mom and Sharon's mom were friends back in the 60s? And when you guys lived in Texas, you guys used to picnic and this and that. And I'm like, oh, God. I said, no, that's not it. So I said, you guys have got to come over for dinner. So the woman comes over with her daughter, her husband, and her daughter's two friends. We're all sitting at the dining room table. The daughter didn't have any problem coming in this time. We all have glasses of wine sitting there, at the table. And one glass of wine between the daughter and the daughter's friend goes zipping across about that far on its own. And I'm like, the wine's going like this, cascading from lip to lip. If you can imagine, it was red wine. It was going ding, ding. And I was going, no way. So I said to them, the husband does this, looks under the glass table. I said, that's a crystal glass. That's a glass table, neither of which are magnetic. And there aren't any magnets. And I don't know what the hell just happened. That's totally crazy. And then I heard a voice say, it's Sharon. We just wanted to let you know we're here.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh my God, these people have a direct connection to Sharon Tate because this girl, with this woman who's like in her 50s, was a child, and her family used to go hang out with Sharon, and the families knew each other. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's very crazy. Yeah, I got a question about when ghost hunters came to your home. And one of the things I found interesting, I actually tried to get a hold of Jay to let him know this because I studied the Manson murder. I did a college paper on it. And one of the EVPs said it sounds like a girl who's in distress and saying, "Why are you doing this to us?" is what it sounded like it said to me. And I read a book, and one of the killers said that's what she was saying during the murders. Why are you doing this to us? So it's almost like you guys captured a piece of time of during that horrible murder.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've watched that episode a number of times, and I've listened to that EVP, as they call it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I can tell you this, though. I can tell you, God's honest. I've got 25 in the house. I've got a total of 30 cameras, 4 outside, 1, 2, 3 in the front of the house, 1 on the side of the house, 1 in the garage. There's another 25 4-megapixel HD 1080p cameras with audio and infrared lights, cameras on them as well, throughout the house, running 24/7. I've recorded disembodied voices, because I can't call them EVPs, because it is not electronic voice phenomena, as you want to say, because that's usually recording a Frank's box or a spirit box. This is stuff that's captured with the cameras. I mean, I can show you one of the cameras. Crap, where the hell are they? Well, here's an example. You see that right there? There's a camera.
Yep.
And they're very, very non-indiscreet cameras. They work really well, but they are sick when it comes to the audio. They captured so many vocalizations that I've heard here that are just like, and not all of them. And this, mind you, this is not necessarily when you're investigating. This is stuff that's just happening random. Meaning I'm here and I'm doing some karaoke work, and I'm reviewing the footage, and I'm like racking it back a few seconds before I start singing, and I hear a voice say, "Fucking pricks," like this, "fucking pricks." And it's not like, well, they say XYZ or they see PDQ. Did they say ABC? It's like, no, they said "fucking pricks." There's no question of what they said. And you go,
right.
And I said, okay, so I would just said, I'm here by myself. I know there are people coming tonight to go investigating, but they're not here. They're another hour and a half from getting here. Who are you calling fucking pricks? And I mean, I've got voices, stuff that you'll just go, what the hell is that? Who's talking? It's not like, well, I don't know what that, no, these are voices that are clear, like, let it go, mija. I mean, if you want, here's an example. Let me show you, let it go, mija. I think I can do this. Yes, I can.
Cool.
Here we go. Oh, great. Wait, son of a bitch. How are you going to hear? Oh, it's got to be, all right, wait. Here, you're going to hear this. Hopefully there's no feedback on this. Turn this back.
Oh my God.
All right, back it up.
Oh my God.
Back it up.
I heard it.
Oh my. Oh my.
One more time, I want the audience to listen. It said, let it go me. Everybody else is on feet and floor outside in the garage. Should we continue with the same sound? I want to hear the where you are, if you were in the back, you stick.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. There it is.
I hear somebody chat.
Let it go. Wow. Does she recognize that voice as her father?
Wow. Yeah, I can hear that. I hope can you guys hear that out in the chat? Just put a 1 if you can. Hey, Susie, how you doing?
I hear somebody chattering. The squeak of a door, huh?
Yeah.
We've had that recorded down here.
I heard laughter.
Yeah, I could hear it.
So she recognized that as her father's voice. Wow. Because you would recognize your father's voice, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Connection of the fact that she was thinking about the fact that she hadn't been able to go on with her life and all that stuff. That was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just fit in just so well with her situation. It was like, that's your father? She goes, oh yeah, that's my dad. Because I haven't been able to go on with my life since he died. I'm going, holy crap, that's nuts.
That is
Wow.
crazy.
And it's clear as ever.
And another question I need to ask you is regarding Zach Bagans or Baggins or whatever the hell it is. But I know he left?
Nephew.
Yeah, he left your house early, didn't he not?
Yeah, which is kind of funny. You know, he was here. They started the this is how the show works. It's done in 4 parts, meaning it's 4 days shooting. The last
Right.
day is when Zach, Nick, and Aaron at the time
Yeah.
would arrive to the house with Jay Wasley and the crew. First day, they come in, they interview me, they go through the house. So they got the baseline. Second day, they interview other people. Third day, they do the B-roll and the special effects, which in this case was the pregnancy, the girl walking around that looked like Sharon Tate before she was pregnant with these fog machine effects walking through the house. All that stuff was shot.
Okay.
And during the time that they did the reenactment of Dre Fordham's story, they asked me, what do you think? And I said, no. I said, absolutely positively not. I said, she approached me a couple of months, maybe 7 months ago, and she said she was going to come here and visit the house. And I said, fine. She had mentioned that she was here with her group a few years earlier. I said, okay. Didn't remember her in particularly. And she just dropped off the face of the earth as far as I was concerned. She never called me back. Now you're mentioning me this story and you're telling me this is what happened to her. Well, I don't know anything about what she's saying because she never called me up before she drove up here, which itself is suspect because she had asked me if she wanted to bring her mom here and this and that. And I was like, fine, go give me a call. She never called. So the story was like, what? She came up here? It's like, well, it's news to me, which just like I said, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells this story that as she's driving up the driveway, she sees Sharon walking down the street, clutching her pregnancy, covered in blood, and just like moaning and like going, "You really serious?" I said, you're asking me if I believe it or if you want, or if you should shoot that? I said, no. I said, A, I don't believe it. B, I think it's highly, highly over traumatized. C, from what my comprehension and understanding of what I've seen of the apparition of Jay Sebring, years earlier, he was totally fine. He didn't look like a victim of the crime. He wasn't wearing what he was wearing when he died.
Right.
I know the scene. I've seen the pictures of his striped jeans. I've seen his shirt that he was wearing when he died. He wasn't wearing that. He didn't look all beaten up. Now you're telling me that down the street, 2/10 of a mile down near the bottom of the driveway, this girl seems to tell you that she sees this apparition of Sharon looking like she's pregnant, cut up and bloodied up, holding her pregnancy, walking down the driveway. I said, no, I don't believe it.
Right.
I said, furthermore, I said, I wouldn't do it. I said, I think it's disrespectful to the memory of Sharon Tate. And I think it's highly, it's provocative and it's dangerous.
Yep.
Dangerous for sure.
And I said, it's insulting to her memory. I said, how can you do that? I know it's sensational, it's salacious, but no, don't do it. And they did it. So I'm out there taking pictures of the action at the time. And in the sequence of photographs, there's this photograph where you see this ball of light coming out of the stomach area of this girl. Now, mind you, all the lights are in front of her to illuminate her, to give her lit up. You don't want to light behind her because that's not going to do anything but give you a silhouette. And I'm looking to the picture, what the fuck? Holy, it's just this big ball of light, just amorphic light, just pouring out of her stomach. And she's wearing nothing but a white nightgown.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, all right, so she's coming, what's the reflection coming? There's nothing reflecting, it's coming right out of her. And I'm like, you guys be careful. So when they started the investigation on the next night, and of course I went up to Zach and I invited him to come back the following night when they weren't shooting, so we could all talk and shoot the shit and share ghost stories. He tells me he's got a chick flying in from out of town and he's going to be with her the rest of the weekend. And I'm like,
Yeah, I didn't doubt it.
You got an opportunity to come back to the house to talk shop, and we're not going to have that tonight. We're just going to be on our Zach, come on, we got to get going. We got to shoot. We got, once we start rolling, you've got 6 hours in that house, and then we go.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so you aren't as authentic as I thought you were.
For sure.
Okay,
Right.
fine.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, I know a guy who ran boom mic for them before, and he said he was a total jerk. He just very egotistical. He's out there, man.
Man, but
He's
what a
cool.
great opportunity you missed out on.
Yeah, he missed on it could have been a
Great
fantastic.
grips.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I totally respect you too, David, because really, like, somebody in your position with that property could go that way, where they are saying,
Yeah, absolutely.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that makes you so much more authentic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is because it would be very easy to capitalize on the sensationalism of where you're at, right? And so, dude, I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, and also I just want to add this: the boom mic guy said, he goes, Zach doesn't believe in any of that shit.
Oh,
Crazy.
yeah. Well, that's for sure, because he kind of tweaked the spirits noses when he started his work here, the investigation, because it must have been about an hour, maybe an hour and a half into the investigation. Mind you, they start at 9 and they go to 3. Well, 9 o'clock, I go upstairs. I'm upstairs and I walk to the top of the stairs, and I basically was like screaming at the spirits saying, I know you want to kill these sons of bitches. I know you
Exactly.
I said that. And
Yeah.
the producer comes running up to me and goes, as I walk out this, he goes, what was that? I said, that? Like it was some show. I said, you think that was an act? I said, there were no cameras on, were there? Because at the time I didn't have the equipment in the house. This is,
Right.
And I said, that was me pleading to the spirits not to kick your asses, your boys' asses. And he goes, really? He goes, oh yeah. I said, I'm fearful of their life. I said, ever since last night and that reenactment shit, I said, I've got scared to death that you guys are gonna have real problems, like the likes of which I've never seen.
For
Mind
sure.
you, that was in 2013. So I've now been living here at the time 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow. I said, he goes, well, you do it again? I said, do it again. What? He goes, will you do that again, but a PG version of it?
Oh, wow.
And I said, it's like, yeah, okay, fine. So what you see on television is the PG version of what I really didn't, what I said before. It's not the first
Right.
take. The original was me screaming, saying, don't you dare fuck these people up. I know you want to break their necks and kick their asses, but please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. This won't be good for the house. So an hour and a, so they start at 9 o'clock. All of a sudden, all they find is all their batteries and all their equipment is dead. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I go like this. I said, and so it begins.
Yeah.
So an hour later, after they've charged up all the batteries and all the stuff in the truck, they start their investigation at 10 o'clock. So it's supposed to go 10 to 4.
Right.
Somewhere around 11:15, 11:30, an hour and a half into it, I hear footsteps because I'm not in my car, as I'm sure I'm in the car. It's like, the hell, I'm going to sit in my car with my dogs. No chance. And my cats. No. So I walk up there and I'm just walking around the front, mulling around. And Zach comes out of the front door. And I'm in the garage listening. I hear the thump, thump, thump of Zach's shoes. And I watch the door open and I see him come out and fall straight down on the ground about 2 feet from the bottom of my landing of the stairs into the house. And I come running up to him and said, Zach, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's like this going, oh man, I don't know. My head's spinning. Oh God. I don't know what the hell, man. It's just, and his eyes are just doing the loop. And I'm like, and there are no cameras there. Then the executive producer, one of the producers comes, runs over and goes, Zach, are you okay? And he's like, man, give me some water. I'm having a splitting headache. I don't know. I'm not really feeling really good. Like, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, They're getting up his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
for
just
sure.
this is just the beginning of what he's about to experience. Because of course I'm figuring he's going to be there till 4 a.m.
Right. Right.
So then they send Nick downstairs. This is shortly after they send Nick downstairs. Nick's having his problem, and he's in the guest bedroom, and the theater room's right next to it, and he's seeing stuff, but the camera's not picking it up. And then he throws his camera down, and the stationary camera's there watching him, and he's like, "Oh man, it's just too much." And I'm thinking, I know the layout of the freaking house. It's literally 3 steps out the door from where he is, and then 7 steps to the door there to go up the staircase to the top floor. I said, I can't believe this. He says, it's not that far. It's not that big of a stretch. And he can't get that far. So I'm watching Zach and Aaron, and they're cracking up, and Jay's cracking up. And I'm watching him, and Nick's going, guys, come down here and get my ass out. What you see on TV is edited.
Okay.
That's going on for about 1.5 minutes. He's just sitting there going,
He
guys,
said,
come on.
Yeah,
come
he
on,
said
guys.
he couldn't. He said he couldn't get through. There was a force or something, right? He said it was keeping him from even exiting out the door.
He said that the energy was at the door, that he couldn't go through that to go through. And I'm going,
Right.
I said, oh God. I said, and I'm watching this pitiful situation unfold in front of me. And I'm I'm empathic. And I'm also somebody that has feelings for watching other people suffer.
Sure.
And I'm like going, you assholes are sitting here in the back of the goddamn van watching on the 20-inch monitor, cracking up while Nick is having his meltdown. I said, this is unreal. And it's starting to really just start to wear on me. And it's starting to just kind of chafe me. And I'm going, and I said, guys, I said, I'm sorry. I said, but I really don't give a fuck about your TV show. I said, this guy is your friend? You're letting him get basted down to the bone in my theater, in my guest bedroom, and you're not going to go to. I said, if you guys don't get your asses down there, I said, I will tear up your freaking contract, and I will go down there myself and bring him the hell up, because I won't let this happen on my watch. I said, this ain't going to happen. I said, I'm giving you 10 seconds to get your shit together, get down there, or else I'm going to myself. I just said, that's enough. So I said 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then they said, all right, guys, Zach says, all right, come on, let's go. And I said, and I'm thinking, what a freaking asshole. You don't just sit there and let somebody suffer needlessly and enjoy it. You're some kind of a masochist.
Yeah.
You like watching, you're a sadist. You like watching somebody, suffer needlessly. And I'm thinking, these are not friends that I would ever want to have, because if that's the way you let your friend hang out to dry and you laugh at him in this situation, I said, whether it's practical or it's all in his mind, needless to say, doesn't matter to him. In his brain, it's happening.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
all
That's
that
his
fucking
experience.
counts, I said. You're letting him hang out there to dry. I said, that's it. So they brought him back up, and Nick had the scratch on his stomach. And there was stuff on there that in the show that they shot that they didn't put on there. I'm going, what there's some solid evidence. Why didn't you shoot that? I said, there's no one in the house. Jay says to me, he says, David, listen to this. And I put the headphones on, and I hear this. He says, David, maybe you can explain what the sound is. And I hear this crunch, 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 crunch. And I said, where's that microphone? He goes, it's on the 3rd floor at the bottom of the landing. I said, oh, shit. And he goes, what's the matter? He goes, well, you don't know this, but when I replaced the carpet, when they pulled up the carpet that was there had urine all in the corner here. And so the guy said, look, even if you use the best steam mop, it's not going to save your house. I said, why? He goes, because the backing of the carpet, the urine goes through the carpet, through the back of the carpet, and straight into the foam.
Right.
Padding. He goes, once that happens, it's in the padding, you're done. I said, what can I do? He goes, get some plastic tarp, and you put it in between the carpet backing and the foam so that you have a vapor barrier. And it's like, he goes, then it dropped right out. It's right there. So when we put in the new carpet, before Zach was here a few years earlier, I put down a layer of plastic. But when you walked, you'd hear the plastic go crunch, crunch, crunch underneath, because the backing was hitting the plastic that is hitting the gosh darn foam. Right. So I said, who's in the house? He goes, no one. I said, what do you mean? He He goes, if there's no one in the house, what you're hearing is, I told him just what I told you. And he goes, well, I said, somebody's walking across the landing into the theater room.
Wow.
They didn't put that on the show.
That's insane. That's crazy. How was it? What was it compared like when you worked? I mean, and I'm not trying to out any of the ghost people, but Ghost Hunters versus Zach's crew. I mean, Ghost Hunters seemed like they had been a lot more legit, but I don't know. I mean, it's all showbiz in the end, I guess, to some point.
Well, you got to remember, they want to have something happen. So when nothing happens, they want to. Here, they didn't have to manufacture shit. I'd say that, remember, when Ghost Hunters was here, that was in 2006. That's 16 years ago.
Early, yeah.
Ghost Adventures came in 2013.
Right.
And in both cases, I mean, you know, I think that as far as how much activity one versus the other, I think they got a lot more activity on Ghost Adventures because the figurine got knocked over, one of the figurines.
Yes.
Then, which was the
Beetlejuice guy?
Beetlejuice big Beetlejuice got knocked over in the beginning. Then the Smoking Man got knocked over later on, where famously Nick and Aaron didn't. I mean, Nick and Zach were in the doorway between the living room and the den, and they didn't hear it, and it's 10 feet away from them. And Jay Wozzy's on the walkie-talkie and says, guys, did you see that? Did you hear that? He goes, hear what? See what? He goes, the Smoking Man got knocked over 10 feet away from you. And it happens 5 seconds before he's on the walkie-talkie. By the time he walkie-talkied them, it was 5 seconds has elapsed. And Nick is like, oh my God, I don't believe it. And Zach's like, it did. He's like a nuclear meltdown. It's like, man, you didn't even hear it. You didn't see it, but you're having an overreaction. What's with you, man? Are you cracked or what? And all you do is turn the light on. You would have seen that the figurine was knocked over. Yet, what they didn't say to the audience and to themselves isn't it interesting? These guys are 10 feet away from it, didn't make a sound.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And Aaron, I mean, Jay Wozzy's on the walkie-talkie telling them he's seeing it happen live on the gosh darn monitor because he's got a camera on it. They didn't think. It's like, wait a second, guys. It's physically impossible for an object to come hitting the ground or hitting the cabinet and not making a sound. And these guys are 10 feet away from it.
That's bananas.
Wow. So, David, would you say, like, most of the spirits, whether it's Jay or it's Sharon, have they been, like, kind of corny, friendly ghosts? Have they been, peaceful with you? Can you live peacefully with these ghosts?
I haven't had anything but that have happened here at the house. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the occurrence of what happened to Zach is I don't want to say 1 in a million, but I'd say it's pretty gosh darn rare, to put it bluntly. Yeah. I've never had anything like that. Oh, the stories with Dr. Barry Taff. I mean, Barry and I spoke literally 2 days ago. We were talking about coming back and doing something about the house. And, Barry said, Zach is hyperbolic about it, makes stuff up that he doesn't even talk to Barry, because Barry said, some of the stuff that I did on the show for Demon House was taken out of context. There was more to that statement. Here's the statement. And Zach says, edit this, use that for here. And Barry's like, I tried to call him up and say, hey, that's not right. Barry said, right. Zach blocked him.
Wow.
I mean, I've had a few people, and I said this to Barry over the past, now it's 20 years. A week ago, it was the 20th anniversary of me moving in here. And Congrats. I said, Barry, thank you very much.
Yes.
I said, the activity is kind of like not as bad as it was when we first moved in. And as you said, Barry, a lot of people came in and were ill affected. I said, nowadays it's you're affected, but it's not like, oh my God, except on some occasions, certain people come in the house and it like tweaks the energy. And it's like, oh, wow, whatever, and whoever you are, you brought some energy with you that's made this place quite intense. And
right.
It's physically, you feel it in your sinuses and the pressure in your eyes, like you're going up several altitudes, to feeling like sometimes you're wishy-washy, walking back and forth on a boat. Different types of things. I don't want to give it all away, but nothing that's, dangerous. It's pervasive. Sometimes you can just say it's intense. It's really,
right, sure.
It's really intense. And other times it's like innocuous. It doesn't exist.
Right. And for my viewers, Dr. Barry Taff, I guess,
Yes.
he was in, is it UCLA? He was in that, I believe it. They
Yes.
had the very first, like, what would you call it? Parapsychology
Their
or something?
psychology department.
Yeah,
At UCLA, Dr.
Right.
Thelma Moss.
Yeah, tell him I've sent him emails and he never gets back with me. I want him on the show.
I will talk to him. Barry's got a GoFundMe thing going on right now. I should have given you the link because he's in financial hardship.
We'll
trying to
do
raise
that.
some
Yeah,
money,
because
so.
it's all who you know, right?
Yeah.
So I got to ask you this. I've heard this before. Your parents' house, and Manson used to do this thing called the creepy crawl thing, where he sent girls into. This would freak you out. They would sneak into someone's house and rearrange all the furniture and leave.
What the?
No.
Yeah.
No.
What they would do is they would send them in to do night maneuvers, and basically they would go into people's houses when people were asleep. While the occupants were asleep, they would go through the house and do things like not move all the furniture. They're not house.
Oh, okay.
Well,
That's what. Okay,
not
my
house
bad.
movers. But
My
what
bad.
they would do is he says, no. He says, I want you to leave a telltale sign so the occupants will know the following morning when they wake up that someone was in their house. So they would take sometimes their trousers, sometimes their wallets, their purses. A prime example would be my own example of what happened to me as a child. My parents lived up in Bel Air, about 3 miles as the crow flies from here. And in New Bel Air, which was built up after 1960 and the Bel Air fire, these were the more recent homes that were built. They were, 3,000, 4,000 square foot little homes there that were just small homes, not big mansions. Well, my father built this house next door to the house that they lived in back in 1963. And he built this house from a lot that was basically a house that was there that was burnt down by the Bel Air fire. In 1968 and 69, my mom used to give hitchhikers rides, always girls, and they were always hippie-like girls that were going up to visit the Berry House, or the Berry Ranch, as it was called. And the Berry Ranch was Jan Berry's ranch up in Bel Air. And Jan Berry was basically part of the singing group.
Jan and Dean.
Jan and Dean. And Jan had a terrible car accident in 1966 on Sunset Boulevard, and it left him partially brain damaged. But he was going through recuperation, and he had lived on this ranch up around the corner from my parents' house. So my mom used to give these girls rides, and she'd pick them up at the bottom of Sepulveda Boulevard and Bellagio Road, and to pile into the backseat of her 1968 Cadillac Eldorado, and I'd be in the front seat, and they'd say, "Oh, we're going up to the Berry House and ranch or whatever." And my mom would say, "Well, I live up not too far from his house, but at least you'll get through the bad part of the steep slopes of walking up the hills here."
Right.
So she got to her house and she would literally go, "This is where I live." And I'm like, I'm not thinking anything because it's 1968. The Manson murders have everything's innocent.
Yeah.
And she basically goes and she drops him off and she goes, "Well, thank you." Because "This is my son, David. I'm Mrs. Oman. Very nice. And you are," she was like, "Very nice. And you are." So and I'm sitting in the front seat looking at these girls thinking, there's something just in their eyes, just something that's just a little hinky. I don't know what to say. I hadn't seen that till later on in life with Hare Krishnas with that 10,000 smile stare, like
till Danny walked in your door at your 21st birthday.
oh yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, acid boy. So she would drop them off. So then the murders take place, and she goes, "That's it. I'm not. No more hitchhikers. Whatever." Murders discovered in December. On television, they have the news reports and they have the cameras of the girls that are protesting in front of Parker Center for Manson's release.
Right.
Those are the girls that are flashing on the television that my mom says I've given those girls rides. And those are the girls in the front that were in the back seat of my car going to Jan Berry's house. Now, Jan Berry, of course, was connected to Dennis Wilson.
Right.
Because they're all interconnected. There wasn't this rivalry. They were all friends. So the Manson girls were hanging out up at Jan's house to visit with Jan because Jan was a celebrity of the same ilk, and they used to hang out there while he was, to visit because they didn't care. Manson wasn't discriminatory about who he planted these girls with. Remember that.
Right.
Manson at the time in 1968, before he hit the shit bricks with Dennis Wilson, was pretty much known about Hollywood. Like Dennis Hopper knew him, and he met all these different people in Hollywood, and he wasn't thought twice of outside just being a real quirky, weird cat. Not a killer, not part of this clan that was going out. So his girls were basically, think about it, Jan and Dean. So he was at Jan's house because Jan was single and had a ranch, great place to hang out.
Right.
Met them through the gosh darn story, connected through Dennis's place. Because Dennis used to hang, knew Jan's, and probably the girls went out there because of that.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
destroyed
strange.
Dennis's house. Wrecked his Ferrari.
They demoed the hell out of it. Exactly. So, and the idea is that Manson knew that Terry Melcher, their manager who he had met Dennis through, was basically moved out of here in March because he came here to look for Terry, and Terry had moved out and Sharon was there. So.
Right. Do you think that whole thing was just Manson was pissed off he didn't get a record deal, and so he just thought maybe, did he know Melcher lived there at the time or not? Or
he knew that Melcher had moved out because he came up in March. Okay. Melcher moved out in February.
Okay.
I think it's partial. I think, first of all, that what he's thought about Helter Skelter had some truth to it, because if you watch the documentary made in 1970, where the guy was an embed reporter and lived with the family for 6 months and interviewed them, and you see Lynette Squeaky Fromm, and these aren't actors; these are the people that weren't in jail. The family was still at Spawn Ranch, right here in the valley, and he lived with them for 6 months and was interviewing them in their own environment. They're not bullshitting when they were talking about this race war and stuff, and that Charlie was trying to, because he was doing that beforehand. So it's not like, well, we can explain away what Charlie was doing there, but you can't, because Charlie was giving direct orders that this is what he was planning. So if you want to play, what's the word? Monday morning quarterback 50 years later and say, no, this and this and this. It's like, but the things that he said, that his followers said that he said. And Diane Lake was here. She was one of the family members. She was here 3 years ago talking to me about it. And I was like, she goes, no, he had some whacked out ideas. It was all about control. Remember, Manson wasn't a sociopath. Manson was a psychopath. He was a sociopath. Yeah. So his kick was getting people to do what he wanted to do. That he didn't want to get his hands bloody, but he had other people doing it at his behest. That was his whole power trip, man. That's what he got off on, was manipulating people. And you see now so many YouTubers are going, oh man, it was a bad drug burn, or it was it was all these I've heard people come up with the most craziest excuses, and I'm like, nah, Manson was crazy, and I think he manipulated these people, and that's what happened. I know Tex was responsible for most of the murders, but they're trying to make it sound like that it was actually Tex's idea to go up there to rob everybody. And it's like, no. If the rob, why didn't they rob?
Exactly. They didn't take anything.
They didn't take anything. That's what. And secondly, Susan Atkins reported in an interview in 1975 that their directions were to kill everybody at the house next door and the house next door to my house. All of them were supposed to be killed. Right. Yeah. They were supposed to go down Cielo and just start killing everybody and all on the private drive, not any further than the private drive. So right. 3 other houses up here, and they're supposed to kill everybody at the other houses at the private drive. Do you get a lot of, I would imagine, I know it's, at the front of Cielo, it says private drive now. So, but I imagine you still get creepy people just coming up and down that street and like at nighttime. I bet your cameras catch a lot of weird shit going on. I've had a lot of strange people come up through the years, and lots of strange people. I've had lots of people come up, the anniversary this year was kind of quiet, and then there are people who've been coming up recently, with the holiday weekend. So yeah, I saw a YouTuber driving up Cielo, and they were just screaming at him like, get your goddamn car. And so like people that drive up Cielo Drive now, a lot of them stopped because they said, man, we can't, because we got screamed at the last time we were up there. Yeah, my neighbor 2 houses down, this doesn't really care for people, and she gets quite vocal about their appearance. How do you turning around?
that road looks so narrow that if two cars were coming in opposite directions, it seems like one would have to go way over to the side to get the other car down. Is it narrow as it looks on
it's
the
narrow.
film?
It's narrow. It's pretty damn narrow. It's car width wise. You can probably get two cars as long as they're not two Hummers.
Yeah,
H1s.
you can high five the guy on your way out.
Oh yeah, you get very close. You get this far from one another if you want. But yeah, it's a pretty narrow little street up here. It's a problem. We used to have a lot wider. The street was much more so, but we had a couple of mudslides 15 years ago that literally the neighbors didn't think. It's like, why don't we get a bulldozer to move all that? It's like, no, they let us going. You narrowed down the freaking street. So now when you have a party, there's one way and one way only, and that's one car coming up in one direction at a time. Otherwise, you don't have any traffic going both directions with parties.
Right. Another thing I wanted to ask you, I know Barry didn't he say that your home is built on, there's a lot of limestone, which is supposed to be a conductor. Is that true?
What Barry said was the house has a geomagnetic anomaly that it sits on, and that in regards to bringing out equipment like the digital electromagnetic geomagnetometer, which registers DC EMF levels, that the house registered 2,000 milligauss positive, and in other parts of the house it registered 2,000 milligauss negative. And because the equipment at the time was limited to that range, he says it's peaking at 2,000 milligauss positive or negative. So it could be it's probably well above.
Right.
And we've used some telephone apps on smartphones and found it to be somewhere around 5,000 plus milligauss positive to 5,000 plus minus milligauss in the house.
So did they end up, I know that I guess the creator of Full House owned that house originally. Did he finally sell that? Did someone actually buy that thing?
No.
Aren't they asking like it was like
$65 million, I do believe.
Yeah, and I think for a while it was at 82 million.
80 million it started out at. And LeBron James rented it for a month. Literally about a month ago. It was crazy. It was like you go outside and there's security. Look, Drake rented it for 2 weeks of his 3-month rental. He lasted 2 weeks of it. And he had guards in front of the gate and behind the gate.
Yeah,
which was it's a fine dandy. LeBron had guards in front of the gate and behind the gate, but the difference is every time any one of us neighbors walked out of our house, there was an immediate radio transmission on the walkie-talkie that what was going on in front of the house. I kid you not.
Right.
And I found this out later that they were literally had a report on each one of our homes, the activities of the comings and going of the people. To the point where they said, I said, well, I took my dog out last night. He goes, oh yeah, we know you were out at 12:30, you were out at 1. And I'm like, are you serious? He goes, oh yeah, we know exactly. He said, every single house we have it's
crazy.
Wow.
And it felt like you were like in some kind of like a camp because every move was being watched and monitored. It was like the most settling thing.
That's hilarious. Do you have any more questions?
I'm blown away. The only question is, when are we gonna go visit it?
Yeah,
yeah, that's been one of my bucket lists, which I guess is a macabre bucket list thing to have, but is to. I used to be in a beat.
My ribs are not macabre. I promise you, they're definitely not macabre.
But yeah, I used to be in a tribute Beatles band, and we toured, and we'd go through LA, but we'd only see LAX because we'd get to the venue or whatever, and I'd always like, man, if we just had time, I want to go to Cielo Drive. But yeah, sometime I'm going to have to get out there just to say I've been there at some point. And then if anybody asks me, I'll go, well, I'm really good friends with David. So
yeah, my man David.
But David,
well, you'll have to call before you come out and say, hey, David, I'm coming out. It's okay, I'll make sure the doors are locked.
Well, David, thank you so much for spending time with us. This has been an awesome experience for me. Like I said, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. Great interview. I enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time as well.
I did. And like I said, seriously, if you guys want, come out and do a live show from the house here. Why not?
That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Then you write off your trip. Expense, taking a trip to do a live show at the Oman house. Everything, expense. Like,
yep.
Absolutely.
We need to do that.
Yep, I got
That
it.
would be cool. Okay, so we got
And
the
we've
invite.
done them before.
I've got it recorded.
We had Fade to was it Jimmy? What's his face from Fade to Black here?
Jimmy Church.
Jimmy Church has been here. Bridget Marquardt has been here from the Ghost Magnet, and I've had other people that have done shows from here. So
Let's do it.
pleasure to. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do
We'll
it.
do it from the third level, right below us.
I
the next
got you.
floor down.
Yeah. Well, Dave, thank you so much, man.
Thank
like I said,
you.
it means a lot to me. You came on.
Oh, God.
At the beginning, I said, I told him when we first started this 2 years ago, I was like, I'd love to get David on, but I bet there's no way this guy's going to come on our show.
Look at us now. Look at us
Great
now.
God.
But-
Not a chance. My God, you're killing me.
all right, brother. Well,
We
you
appreciate you, man.
have a wonderful evening, and thank you,
You
again
do the
so
same.
much.
And let me know when you guys want to come out. Please, I'll be happy to have you come out and visit.
Definitely. We
Absolutely.
got to plan something, man. That'd be awesome. All right. Well, good night, David. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right,
ya.
buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
He's got great energy about him.
Yeah, he does, man. And he's not only that, just he's so entertaining.
Yeah.
Very animated. And that's a great interview.
Well,
you
the
know?
whole time I'm thinking, the only way that you would be able to survive in that kind of environment, if it's constant, is to kind of have that attitude and to be positive and energetic, right? And I thought it was funny that Zach had and his crew, because he said that's like a 1 in a million thing.
Right.
And I'm sitting here thinking that's not really surprising though.
Yeah.
Because they're coming in wanting to, reenact a pregnant lady walking down. I mean, they have these
Dude,
thoughts,
that is so insane.
these intentions, right? And we talk about it on the show all the time. Is he back?
Yeah.
We talk about it on this show all the time, though, right? Manifestation.
Hey, was there something else?
You guys, I thought, it's like, wait a second, I think they wanted to say something. Sharon said, you're an asshole. You just cut him off.
No. You're good, brother. You're good. You're good, man.
Gotta hang it on the ghost. What can I say? They said,
I know.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, let me know. Like I said, if you guys want, more than happy to do a show from out here, please.
Right
100%.
on, man. That'd be awesome. All right.
Good night,
All right.
David.
Great
Take
night,
care.
Dave. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Dude, so awesome.
Yeah.
What in the hell just happened for the last hour and a half?
Yeah, that was cool. Like I said, I wanted to get him on.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
I knew you'd be excited. I was so pumped.
But
the other
actually,
night.
I gotta give it to Garrett, man. Garrett made it happen.
yeah,
Garrett made it happen. So
hey, next week is in Brandon Burton.
Guys, please tell your friends because you remember Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon Burton, man.
Brandon Burton.
We're just hitting home runs right now. Pop, pop.
Yeah, he was the
Baseball cards.
he was the really good psychic we had on. We've had Dean on, of course, and Dean's fantastic as well. But Brandon actually he kind of
Blew my mind.
reached out to you a little bit. I mean, you reached him, but he wants to come back on, and he said that he would do some free readings for you guys. So I thought
And we're gonna get to hear it because when he did the first show, he had not that he had just started, but he had only been doing it like a year or so, and he was spot on. And he said,
he was.
dude, he was blowing our minds, right?
He was the one that I'd like to had single 7 to watch, but
I know.
I just
I know.
see if but the thing here's the deal: when you got someone's mind made up that this is phony, he's going to come up with why that was phony,
Right.
and that's okay because
Well,
most people do that. They're like that when they believe that.
For sure.
So
But the baseball card thing I'm referring to, everybody, is that I was like, I'm going to test them. Okay. So I wrote down somebody that's passed away and next to it, something that was important to them. I had grandpa baseball cards. Baseball cards are not important really anymore. He said he picked up on it. I had scratched that out and put it in my bag. You didn't even know about it.
No, I
hid it from
remember
Keith.
you. Well, before the show, Garrett's scribbling something. I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm just writing some stuff down." I was like, "Okay." And so what he was writing down was just certain little key points, and he was going to see how accurate that Brandon was, and he was like, 100%?
He's 100%. It was literally insane. So this fast forward a year, and let's have this show. This is going to be awesome. On the heels of David Oman. This is great, dude.
So you guys, everybody, click on no, I'm just teasing. Pay for our trip to Los Angeles, and
I'm already seeing a crew forming here.
Yeah, and we'll
me
go.
And Brandon and Dean.
Hey,
me
how
and
cool
two
would that
psychics?
be? Yeah.
Oh.
We took you, me, and we took the 2 psychics with us. Man,
Dude.
what a show that would
Not
be.
to mention the military medium, so we'll be super protected because he's gonna have
Yeah.
archangels.
We're doing a protective prayer.
Yeah, for sure.
But kind of what Dave kind of made it sound like. My mic's about to fall off. But and what we talk about intention. If we go in
For sure.
we just want to talk with
Explore.
positive spirits, nothing evil, nothing dangerous.
We'll just have the experience too, right?
Yeah, and we'll do just to be. I've been to LA probably 3 times, but it was always like one show we did in San Diego, so we stopped at LAX, then next flight,
Right.
and then so I never got to actually go and see LA at all.
For sure.
All I remember is flying in and going, good God, these houses are built in the mountains or in the hills. It's like
sure.
how they step out the front door and not fall.
Yeah.
Because even Sharon Tate's house, it's built on a big hill, and it's supposedly had the best view of downtown Los Angeles. It had a beautiful view, but you look down there like, oh shit.
Yeah. For sure.
It's steep stuff. But yeah, we got somehow, some way,
We'll sort it out.
we gotta make that happen. We gotta do a fundraiser.
Yeah, dude. Hey.
Yeah,
Great show,
if you
Keith.
guys send us to LA, we'll do a live show from 30 yards from the Sharon Tate house
In the Oman house.
in David Oman's house. Yeah,
And we're taking Dean and Brandon with us.
that would be cool.
We got a crew.
We got a crew.
Dude, great show, Keith.
Oh, that was awesome, man.
Well
Good show. But next, anyway, tell all your friends. Brandon's really good. If they want to read, he can call. And I'm hoping though, what we want to do is he said he's got a little bit of a different mind change, right, about certain things.
I think he's just evolving.
He's evolving, and so he's wanting to talk about that a little bit. And then he said, if you want me to do some readings, I'll do that. Which usually, if you guys want a reading, show up next. Hey, Crimezilla, what's up?
Thank you, Bobby.
Hey, I know we were.
Great show. I was trying to keep up with the chat.
I know, and even though we don't have, that's
Hey, you know what though?
it's yeah.
David.
I can't
was
see
rolling.
that from here. Anyway.
David was rolling.
Yeah,
We had to roll with it.
yeah. And if you guys hadn't hit the like button for crying out loud,
Jeez,
please, that's all I'm asking. Hit the like button. I'm not asking for money. Just hit the like button. We're trying to get the algorithm. I'd like to build this show up where we can get lots of people in here, and it's not because I'm not monetizing the show. You guys who are fellow YouTubers, Crimezilla, you can't make money off of YouTube really unless
It's all about
you
the
get
conversation, though.
well, if you get into the million views thing, then you can make some money. But I'll share with you. We did monetize it the first year, and I think it's still monetized. I need to take it off, but I don't monetize the shows at all. There's a couple that I think I need to go down, but our income was $236 for the year.
Okay, good.
Hey, and we bought Garrett a chair. We was able to get Garrett a chair.
Don't do this for
and
the
I think,
money, though.
No, and exactly, and that's what my plan is. Anyway,
Well, we are knocking out like some amazing guests and conversations. Though, like I always say, where our conversations now compared to when we started, dude, we were rookies. Now we're getting some heavy hitters on here and having just some really amazing topics.
I'm impressed. Well, God, we've had
Carl Johnson,
who I watched for 15 years on different shows. Drew Beeson. We've had the military medium. We got Brandon. and then David Oman. If he can get to Dr. Barry Taft, that would be awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be a very interesting show indeed.
So good.
Anyway, so guys, tell your friends, hit the like button. So it says there's 12 people watching. So there better be 12 likes when I get off here. No, I'm just teasing. But yeah, it does help, even though I know it's not a lot, but as we grow, we hope that we can, get more likes and all that. And the thing to me is just it's an interesting kind of show.
Makes me better.
I was joking with Garrett that some of the videos I've watched where you got people who got 1 million views. Me and Garrett probably could sit here with rubber bats and hit each other on the head for 30 minutes and have 1 million views. Right?
Yeah, we could do it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, we could do it for 2 minutes and it would go viral.
Yeah.
But yet I think we're talking about important things. A lot of people want to know about life after death and ghosts and paranormal, I think. But it's funny how like something we do, we might get 164 views or something like that. But if we hit each other on the head, for like 2 minutes straight with a rubber bat, we would get probably 2-3 million views.
But see, like I totally am invested and enjoy our conversations, right?
I do too.
And I think they're so fascinating. And I feel like it's made me a better person. I definitely have a different perspective on things.
It's definitely opened you up a lot.
Bigfoot?
Yeah, because you never would have believed in Bigfoot in a million years.
Nope.
And
But now I understand,
right.
right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Gus G leaving toys for Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, we've
I
had them
remember
all,
that.
dude. We've had them all.
And that's funny. Yeah, there was another guy that did the same thing.
Presents.
Left presents for. Yeah, hey, there's Taylor. Let's see what my daughter
What
has
did
to
she
say.
say?
Are you throwing shade at me and Cass? Oh,
A little bit.
a little bit. Yeah. So my two daughters.
My wife and my sister-in-law.
Yeah, made a. Was it a TikTok?
Barbie. Yes.
A TikTok video of Barbie and Ken.
They got like 250,000 views right
That's
now.
eventually going to go viral. I mean, it's crazy. They got so many hits
Yeah.
on this, and now they're making a series of this show. And I'm like telling Garrett, God, we're talking about important things, and we can't even get
I can
anywhere
live with
close
that.
to that.
I can live with that.
I can too, because I mean, the thing is, it's the most fun. We got kind of an intimate thing here, so.
Yeah. Hey, make sure that dinner is done in the living room's picked up before I get home.
Oh,
Gotcha.
that's not going to go good.
I
All
gotta
right.
get out of here.
So anyway, guys, we love you. Thank
Love
you so
you.
much for spending your Tuesday. I keep having to say Wednesday because we used to do Tuesdays.
Yes.
Wednesday night with us. We do appreciate it. Believe me, I know you could be doing other things and you chose to watch our show. That's awesome. And thank you so much for it. And tune in next week if you want to, even if you don't want to read him, watch the show. This guy's amazing. I mean, if you guys who are old timers, who is everybody,
Old timers, like we're in prison.
Our old
Hey,
timers.
old timers.
they've seen Brandon and how great he is with his
And
readings.
he's just a good dude.
And he's a super
We bring
nice.
on nice, good people.
We
don't
do. All right. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Peace out. Good night to everybody.
Night.
And we will see you next week. Brandon Burton. Don't miss it.
Bye.